to do today, and then I realised that at the start of 2020, Teresa Stilikova and I, our film, which is the centrepiece of this exhibition, screened it at the Whitechapel Gallery, and I released this little pamphlet for free that night. And Alban Lowe of Samson Lowe, wonderful press and supporter of many of our projects, published this. I've never read it, so there's never been a public event where I've read it, so I'm going to be a sweet little chilly boy and just read today. And I won't read it all either, just elements and sections of it. So this is called The Car Giant, which is a reference to the massive wholesale automobile lot which is being terraformed and wiped out for 25,000 new flats, which is the main concern of Teresa and I's project, that this beautiful industrial part of London will be disappeared. So, The Car Giant. Stephen surveys the land without purpose and remembers there are threads, themes, but cannot remember what they are, so instead we have the story of his trying to remember. This is a code, a good story, a kind of translation for the truth. It's a story of death and friendship, the end of a conversation. Teresa is missing. Stephen is a writer, Teresa is a filmmaker. Together they create things as easily as one might film a passing cloud or a passing barge or a stationary train. They film them, then they write them. They reach out into the ether of nothing and capture these things to tiny audiences. One day they might both be famous, infamous. Neither is likely, but it's always possible that the zeitgeist might shapeshift, that taste might come back, that people might think. TVs explode into the internet and that goes off. But this is their job. They wake up whenever. Well, not Teresa, she has a family, but Stephen wakes up whenever he likes. And he drinks coffee, and then he does his email, and he potters about. He goes to the gym, maybe writes one poem, then sees a friend. It's like that. That easy. It's not fair, really. Nothing is evenly spread. Things appear and disappear. People die. They live, then they disappear. I was late that day. Not the day I chinned the developer and he burst into 10,000 moths the colour of rusting recycled manacles. The day we went to film the Canal, the Grand Union Canal. They nearly filled it in, you know. They nearly concreted it up because canal technology was obsoleted by trains pretty sharpish. Some enthusiasts saved it. This is what Teresa and I are. Enthusiasts. Of what though? Seeing things. We like big skies, we like ruins, we like a chat. And not getting round to work as others see it. But we like people who don't necessarily see their art as work. But I was late because I'm always a little late. It's disrespectful, but not intended as such. And Teresa knows me now. She knows I mean well. I mean, she took care of that bully for me after I destroyed the world. This is the thing. If you're going to look for trouble, you'll find it. So it's probably better to imagine, like those bourgeois novelists do in their books, that they can fight, so you don't end up with someone, or worse, something, as most men on the planet are more reckless than me, I reckon. Teresa Stilikova has a handheld tripod which looks like an eyeball in a Tesla plasma globe. It swivels and moves to the motion of the hand, connected to the body, connected to our phone's camera. She films on that as Stephen walks silently behind, jotting nonsense into his writing pad like a proper writer. He writes hummus, wraps, kale, cordial, Sainsbury's. Teresa is capturing this dying place. She is looping the thread of its demise in small glass circles like a needle. Maybe Stephen writes this poetic mixed metaphor. He doesn't. He's writing down shopping lists and moral dilemmas. Teresa is silent because the record button has been depressed, like every person who lives nearby. Teresa and Stephen walk down the Grand Union Canal and see a woman screaming. Why she is screaming, Stephen does not know. But what words can be made out could not even be described as shallow. She's screaming at a machine. The heat from the machines jars Stephen's memory, and he remembers some of what he had temporarily forgotten. A love of moss, a promise to put moss on a gravestone, Teresa's hair like plants in the water, paint on a wall no one built, everything disappearing, wormwood meaning dead forever. The passing of a landscape made by work, a proper cafe. I'd like to say our footsteps down the canal are ceremonious, elusive, exploratory, but that's just Teresa. Mine are truculent, impatient, silly even, I prance. I bet if you asked Teresa, and she is reachable by email, she would say it doesn't even cross her mind to stop me prancing. It's her nature to just let people be. Passing the machine and the woman, heading west past the big Sainsbury's towards Willesden Junction, Stephen's trench coat clings to his body. He is wearing no underwear. Interrupting Stephen's indolence, the woman places her hand on her face and covers all of her features with one palm. Stephen is impressed. The woman has a mitt. Her fingers are like sea cucumbers, green with labour. Stephen realises how colourful the woman is, greens and blues, yellows and reds. He admires her, trying to hide her tears. That's all you can do, Stephen says. Beneath the mighty palm, the woman nods. He walks on miles and miles until Willesden Junction is passed, to near enough south of Wembley. Dangerous country. Teresa Stelkova and Stephen J. Fowler finally enter the car giant itself, and do not simply pass through the road intersecting the car lots. They observe the murals of people kayaking, and Stephen stabs the wall with a chisel like a proper twat. Recovering their dignity, thanks to Teresa, they return to the car giant main building and enter, for the first time, the Giant's Cafe, because one of them desperately needs a piss. They sit together, plotting their film, really friends, kind, affording each other a measure of generosity, license, and civility, sincere and reserved, and they just enjoy how nice it is to be in the canteen. This is where the staff of Car Giant, soon to be without jobs, their workplace replaced with a high-rise new-build flat, who wake up each morning to sell or tend to cars at affordable prices, come on their breaks to have coffee and eat their lunches. There are trays you collect, places onto tin rails and push to heated open-top food racks that have rigid plastic sneeze guards. But there is real choice. Teresa sits and smiles. Her hair not at all like a plant, but shining, framing her face. Noble is the word. She is noble, but funny, like a heron on the canal. Stephen pushes his tray to the till, where for the first time in years, the man addresses him as Sir, not as a response to Stephen using the word Sir. Stephen wants to cry, but doesn't, because that would be indulgent and stupid, and his pride matters to him. And pride is proper important, no matter what anyone on the BBC website says. Thank you.
Thank you so much.